My name is Mary, and I am 72 years old. The story I am about to tell you happened just last year, and it changed my life in ways I never imagined possible. I live in a small village in Rivers State, where the red earth meets the sky and palm trees sway like dancers in the breeze. My hair is silver now, like moonlight, and my hands have known more work than rest. For 48 years, I walked beside my husband, Joseph, a humble teacher who spoke little but loved deeply. When the fever took him 2 rainy seasons ago, I wept until my tears could fill a calabash. But when the mourning cloth came off, I made a decision that shocked everyone in the village. I sold my late husband's pieces of land in the city, land that greedy relatives had been eyeing like vultures circling a dying goat, and I bought myself a small farm on the outskirts of the village. 3 acres of good soil, a modest mud house with a corrugated iron roof, and a stream that sang as it passed through the back of the property. Let me tell you about the day I moved in. I stood in my new compound and looked at the cassava stems I had just planted with my own hands. My back ached, my knees complained like old wooden doors, but my heart, my heart danced like a young bride on her wedding day. This land was mine. Nobody could tell me when to wake or when to sleep. Nobody could demand my last kobo or my last strength. I had spent every naira I owned to buy this place. Money I had hidden in an old biscuit tin under my bed, saving coin by coin while my husband was alive. I had denied myself new wrappers and good fish for years, so I could have something to call my own when he was gone. My children thought I was foolish. "Mama, you are too old for farming," they said. But I knew something they didn't. Freedom has no age. That first morning on my farm, I woke with the roosters and made myself a pot of tea with fresh lemongrass from my garden. I sat on my veranda, watching the mist rise from the cassava fields, and I whispered a prayer of thanksgiving. Life had finally given me a gift I had not dared to ask for, peace. But as our ancestors say, peace is like a ripe pawpaw hanging on a low branch. Everyone wants to pluck it. 3 days after I settled in, my phone rang. It was my daughter, Grace, my firstborn, the one I had sacrificed everything for. But she had married a man from the city, a civil servant named Michael with a belly as big as his pride, and a family that treated the world like it owed them rent. "Mama, good afternoon." Her voice came through the phone, sweet like overripe banana. Too sweet. "My daughter, how are you? How are the children?" I asked, my heart warming at the thought of my grandchildren. "They are well, Mama. But listen, I need you to prepare food today. My husband's people are coming to your place. About 25 of them. They want to spend the next 2 weeks at your farm. It's their family reunion, and your place is perfect. They will arrive in 3 hours." My hand froze on the phone. The cassava stems I had been admiring suddenly looked blurry. 25 people? But my daughter, I just moved here. I don't have. "Mama, don't start. We are family. You cannot turn us away." My husband says his uncle Daniel is bringing his 5 children. His sister Patricia is coming with her twins. His cousins from Port Harcourt, from ABA, from Calabar. Everybody is coming. Your farm is big enough. We are on our way. The line went dead. I sat down heavily on my wooden stool. My small house had only 2 rooms. One for sleeping, one for everything else. Where would 25 people sleep? On the floor? In the cassava field? I looked at my kitchen. 1 small pot. 4 plates. A handful of yams. Some dried fish. 1 cup of rice. That was all I had. How do you feed an army with that? But what pained me more than the problem of food and space was the realization that once again, my opinion had been thrown away like dirty water. My daughter had not asked if I could host them. She had announced it like I was a servant waiting for orders. I remembered all the times I had given until I had nothing left. When Grace's husband needed money to buy a car, I sold my gold jewelry, the one Joseph had given me on our wedding day. When Grace's children needed school fees, I went without my blood pressure medication for 2 months to send money. When they needed someone to wash their clothes, cook their food, and mind their home while they traveled, I left my own life behind and served like a housemaid. And now, on the 3rd day of my freedom, they wanted to take it all back. My eyes filled with tears, but these were different tears. Not tears of sorrow, but tears of anger. Hot, burning anger that comes when a person finally sees the truth they have been running from. I wiped my face with the edge of my wrapper and stood up. My knees cracked like dry branches, but my spine was straight. I walked into my house, picked up my small purse, and rode my old motorcycle to town. The journey took 30 minutes through red dust roads that wound between farms and forest. When I reached the town, I parked near the market and walked to a small office with a faded sign. Barrister Johnson and Associates, Legal Services. An elderly man with spectacles balanced on his nose looked up from his desk. Madam, good afternoon. How can I help you? I need advice, sir, I said quietly. About family matters. For 1 hour, I told him everything. The lawyer listened without interrupting, occasionally nodding his grey head. When I finished, he removed his spectacles and cleaned them slowly. Madam Mary, he said, what you are describing is what we call exploitation. Just because they are your blood does not mean they own your blood. But what can I do? I asked. They are already on their way. Barrister Johnson smiled. A slow, knowing smile that reminded me of my late husband. Madam, this is your land. You are the landlord. A landlord has rights. Let me explain something to you. When I left that office, I carried a folder of papers and something else. Something I had lost and found again. My dignity. I stopped at the market and bought a few things. Not much, just rice, beans, palm oil, salt and vegetables. I spent only 2,000 naira. Then I rode back to my farm, my heart beating like a talking drum. When I arrived, the compound was already full of cars. People were everywhere, unpacking bags, letting children run wild through my cassava field, opening my doors without permission. One woman was already inside my bedroom, spreading her clothes on my bed as if she owned the place. My daughter, Grace, came rushing toward me with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Mama, thank God you are back. Where is the food? Everyone is hungry. I looked at the crowd in my compound. I recognized some faces. My son-in-law's relatives, people who had never greeted me at family gatherings, people who looked at me like I was furniture, not a human being. Welcome, I said calmly. But there has been a misunderstanding. What misunderstanding? Grace asked, her smile fading like smoke. I did not agree to host 25 people for 2 weeks. This is my home, not a free hotel. The noise in the compound died down like a fire doused with water. Everyone turned to look at me. My son-in-law, Michael, stepped forward. He was a thick man with a voice that filled rooms like thunder fills the sky. Mama, what is this nonsense? We are family. You cannot turn us away. I am not turning anyone away, I replied, my voice steady as a drumbeat. But if you want to stay, there are conditions. Conditions? Michael's face darkened like a thundercloud before rain. You want to charge your own family? This is my property, I said, lifting my chin. If you want to stay here, you will pay for accommodation and food. Or you can find somewhere else. The shouting began immediately. 25 voices, rising like a flock of angry birds whose nest had been disturbed. They called me wicked. They called me selfish. They said Joseph would be ashamed of me from his grave. But I had learned something from Barrister Johnson that morning. I had learned that the law was on my side. And I had learned that a woman who owns land is not a woman you can push around like a child's toy.